Yeah, Kobe, man. This is this is a super heavy topic. It's like for some reason it felt like someone you loved just passed away. I mean, when I say that, of course, a celebrity is a different. Like I've never cried when it's a
I've
celebrity
never
died.
cried when a celebrity dies.
Never.
Never. You feel bad, obviously. It's tragedies. A lot of celebrities have died in our past years.
Life.
You know, all the artists that have passed away
Yeah.
doesn't need to be named, right? But that's a tragedy. With Kobe, it was like, I don't know what it was. It was more than a tragedy. Like, my perspective of how much impact he really had on a global level, I didn't realize that until his, like, past. I realized he had a top 3 selling jersey in China, or crazy in Asia, or, like, crazy overseas. But I didn't think it was that. But when you realize, I've never cried for a celebrity. But when I heard the news, I came home. My mom checked on me. She was like, "Oh, how are you doing this?" She knew how. She saw the posters. She saw the books. She knew. She didn't know a lot about basketball, but she knew Kobe, right? She didn't know a lot of basketball, but she knew Kobe.
Yes.
You just know who Kobe is. Kobe's that guy on my son's wall. Kobe, oh, I see him play. You know who he is.
Yes.
So when she took the news not as heavy, but she knew how heavy I took it.
Yes.
And I, like I said, never. So I'm in my room and I take the blanket over my head and you just gotta ball your eyes out for a minute. Why? I can't explain it. I don't know why.
And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this feel the same way because it's not just us who've been through this. And this is something I don't know which other athlete, except I can think of a few, maybe can do. Like, there's only a certain few amount of people in this world who have had this amount of impact. Like, and it's not just an impact on, like, with basketball.
It's more than basketball. Man.
Way more than basketball.
Some of the clips you see of him were of him not hooping, but him being with his wifey, right? Yeah, with Vanessa, with, like, when they were. I mean, honestly, he's like a Hollywood. Like, he is Hollywood. Not even to the point where it's just like, bro, you were 17 when you got into the league. You had this meteoric whatever rise, right? You marry your high school whatever sweetheart. They made each other like 17, 18, right?
Was it high school or college?
High school. No, he didn't go to college. Kobe didn't go to college.
Oh, right, okay.
Kobe didn't go to college. He high school and straight to the league, and he was all on these shows. Like, we weren't. Other people really grew up with Kobe. I don't know about you, but I definitely miss the younger Kobe because I was super young. People who are 30 probably saw that when they were like 10, 11, right? But I missed that 99 through 05, 06 Kobe. That was when he was with Shaq. That was like the 3P, all of that stuff. I missed that, so I see that on reruns. But the stuff with him and Vanessa, him being a dad, that connects on a whole different level. But it's just still, man. I see him on the wall. It's like he didn't go anywhere, but he didn't go anywhere. But that's such an impact that he's had. Is even though he's gone physically. Excuse me. His lasting impact is insurmountable, immeasurable. There's so many words, but you can't pick one word.
This is something that you cannot describe in words, I think. When we think of Kobe, I mean, no matter how much we talk about him, we cannot actually describe the amount of work this man has put in for one team, for one nation, for one specific organization, for one goal. If you think about, like, I don't think majority of us cannot relate to what this guy has done.
He's a 1% of the 1% of the 1%.
And that's a way to put it.
Not even that, bro. How are you gonna win? You're gonna win 5 titles in the league, right?
Yeah.
Endless amount of MVPs, 2 gold medals. You 38 when you retired. 2 years later, you're gonna win an Oscar.
Yeah.
An Oscar on a short film. That's the equivalent of winning a title in your second, third year. That's unheard of.
People die for Oscars.
That's unheard of. He gonna come in the game, do his children's books, what he was getting into. He's gonna win an Oscar in year 2 of being away from basketball. So that's like, not only the NBA loses a great player, a great legacy player, but like the world itself lost more than a person. It's just more than one. But yes, we know it was just one, but the impact that one has on others. I think I might be reiterating some stuff that I said earlier, but isn't that really what we're defined by? Not to go too deep.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're gonna. The best part about this is that this man has left a legacy now, which is not gonna be forgotten for a really long time. We still talk about Michael Jordan. Our generations after generations after generations are gonna still talk about Kobe Bryant.
I mean,
If they don't, man, I'm gonna go spread this word.
Yeah, if they don't, then my ghost, when I'm long gone, is gonna come haunt a lot of these kids in their dreams, because there's a reason you said Kobe when you were shooting the ball in the trash can. Bro.
There's a reason.
There's a reason you were saying Kobe. Yeah, you said you didn't say
better,
Steph.
Better be saying
you
that.
You didn't say Bron. You didn't say MJ. You said Kobe. Every time you let it go in the trash can, and that's like, going back to kind of what I said at the top is like the biggest lesson in all of this is what kind of impact do you have on others, right? Like nobody talked about. He made a lot of money, right? But that wasn't in the what you call
topics.
And that wasn't not even in the top. That wasn't in his eulogy, right? Nobody said how much money he made. They talked about how hard of a worker he was. He has a whole mentality about him, a Mamba mentality that he talks about. And again, he's a 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Only very few can look up to that and can model it. There's only one. He's a one-on-one. Nobody's gonna. There's a reason he puts books out so people can try to follow him. But tell me who following it.
That's the way to put it.
Tell me who following it. Nobody's following it.
But let's shift gears here, man. How much of an impact do you think basketball has had on you as a person?
I mean, I think in sports in general, I grew up in a culture here from like middle school sports where it builds discipline. And again, I'm not a big hotshot high school athlete. I wasn't a big hotshot athlete at all. I was just a athlete, right? Just a normal kid in middle school, high school. For me, what it did was it provided a motivation, and I think most importantly, it provided a distraction, a good distraction, not even like in terms of keeping me from bad stuff, but it was something that kept me going. You just want to get better and better and better, and not even to impress. Obviously, you have goals that you want to reach if you are an athlete, but understanding that those goals aren't going to be reached by everybody. But what it builds is a love and a passion, honestly.
Yes.
That's what sports does. Now, what it also does is people underestimate is life lessons.
I think that's the biggest point you could say there, is that sports, when anyone is playing sports, right, anyone asks why any sport would be a good option, and we're talking about any kind of, like, it could be even golf, something like, it doesn't have to be a team sport, even golf teaches you lessons like sportsmanship, teaches you lessons like how can we chase after a goal and try to jump over hurdles to get that goal. It teaches you how you can, put practice day in and day out, and how that practice, increments and adds up slowly to build up to a goal. And I feel like in younger kids, usually, especially someone like who's in teenage years, there's a lot of stuff that goes in your life. You're going through puberty, you have, this insecurities, a lot of them you're going through, your voice change, acne, whatever. A lot of people these days are going through depression because of social media and stuff. And that's
Hold
one
on
issue.
to that thought. We'll dive into that a little
That's
bit.
one thing we're going to talk about, which is mental health.
Hold on
mental
to
health
that. Hold on to that.
Huge. So what I think something like sports does is puts a focus, takes your focus. Like Tony Robbins always says, this amazing quote, is that where your focus goes is where your energy flows. When you put your focus to a thing, a certain task you want to accomplish, you forget all the other distractions. There's no depression anymore.
Nothing.
There's no girl you're trying to impress, but you cannot get because she's hooking up with other guys anymore. It's just one thing you want to achieve, and that's what's motivating you. Now you're watching other players do it. You're watching, if you're into basketball, you're watching Kobe do it. You're watching, other teammates do it, and it builds a community around that. You make friends who are in similar passion. That's why I think sports is such a great thing to dive into when you're young.
Man, that, and it builds discipline, man. Like, again, just a middle school, high school athlete, but my love for basketball is, it can't be overstated. And when I say that, I mean it, man. Like, I'm weirdly obsessed, and I've always have been. Like, from the beginning, when I first started playing, it wasn't, I had goals, but it was something that built discipline for me. Like, I had a reason to get, man, I kid you not. Middle school years, I didn't have a gym membership. I didn't have a YMCA membership. I didn't really have any memberships, any outside gyms to go to. It wasn't anything, it was just, that's just what it was. That's just the hand I was dealt. I had to do what I could at home. My dad got me a hoop, set up in the backyard. Real nice setup. It was summertime, right? Summers is kind of when you put the work in, right? That's when you kind of have all time to yourself.
Yes.
About 10, 11, 12. I think I'm 12 going into 6th, 7th grade, right? How old are you? Maybe 12, 13, right? So what I would do is, and I to this day, I have a book. I have a journal. I had set up 2 journals. Not 2 journals. I had set up one, and I filled it out, and I closed it, and I started another one. What that was it was a journal entry every day of the work I did. What I would do was, I'd wake up around 8. Why 8? It's Texas MF heat. You don't get up if you don't want to have a heat exhaustion, you get up before 10. So 8 to 10, put the work in. 10 through 6, you get your schoolwork done, you get through the day.
And we're talking
play
about
video games. We're talking about summer.
And waking up at 8 in summer is pretty damn hard. Because that's summer, that's where you want to chill. That's where you want to do nothing.
Right, but I just didn't think like that.
Yeah.
I didn't think like that. I just found this thing where, honestly, I just got so addicted.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was just something in me. Like, a lot of people watching this can relate to a sport doing that to you. Or like track, whether it's soccer, whether it's football. It just brings a passion out of you that you don't want to, in some cases, you don't want to impress anybody else. You just want to prove yourself.
Yeah.
You want to prove yourself. Like, I'm working on this stuff, right? I'm working on it. But if I work hard enough, if I work on this, I'm going to get way too basketball 101-y. But if I do this jab, left, pull up, whatever the spin move, whatever I do, I want it to work. I'm going to work on it so hard until it works. Like, dude, I was that kid. I had plastic chairs as defenders. I tape brooms on the chairs to work on my floater so I could shoot over people. I tried everything. Again, I feel like I got late in the game, whatever the case was. Again, even starting in 6th grade, but where kids start now, dude, those kids are starting in kindergarten. They're starting getting rankings.
Yeah, like 5, 6.
So it's crazy, but that was my routine. And then, like, I was very boring as a child. My childhood was very boring. Like, I only saw my friends during the school year. I don't know if that's other Brown households might have been like that.
I mean,
might have been, but mine just by happenstance, I only really saw my friends during the school year.
I see.
And when the summer came, it was just me. I was just at home. We were just at home. And go to the mall. I would see my school friends in the summer, maybe a handful of times. Maybe a handful of times. So I just was to myself. So I just try to do what I could do, work on stuff. And then fast forward to when I actually got a YMCA membership. I was super excited. Finally got access to an indoor gym. This was sophomore year, high school. Summertime came. I got in at 11 in the morning.
Okay. Indoor gym?
Indoor gym.
Mm-hmm.
Indoor YMCA. And mom would drop me off. I told my mom not to pick me up until dinner time.
Wow.
I brought my bag. I brought water. I brought snacks.
No food, no lunch.
Snacks.
The snacks, that's it?
Snacks, grapes, munch on some stuff. And you can probably add, there was kids at the YMCA, right? Like they had their summer camp going on. So you go in the gym, the divider's in the middle, there's one half and the other half.
Mm-hmm.
One half's open to the public, the other half's booked by the kids, Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
Basically, the boys and girls at the Boys and Girls Club,
Mm-hmm.
they knew me by name by the end of the summer. They would join me. They would play with me, like, you know, I'd interact with them.
Yeah.
So much so to on the last day when the camp was over, a good majority of them, you know, we shared our goodbyes. I wasn't part of the Boys and Girls Camp. I wasn't part of anything. I just was there so often. I was almost there as long as they were. They just got there in the morning a little earlier than I did.
Yeah.
And when they left, I was there. So it was like, you know, oh, hey, whatever, how you doing? You know, so I made, that was, so I'm, and too much, you know, that's where I made a few good friends there. One of which who I'm still great friends with right now. Shout out, you know, TJ sitting in Alabama, and he had moved from Alabama to Texas for about 2 years, his junior year. And he was around in the area. He didn't really know anybody, but we became best friends through basketball. He was working on his big man stuff. I was working on my, he would help me out. I'd help him out. And then there was another skills coach who was always there.
Right.
Coach Mason. If he's, there's no way in hell he's watching this, but Coach Mason, if you're out there, you know, shout out to you. But he would come in and train kids. Then he would charge them. I was there so often, he just let me jump in.
Nice.
He had the shooting gun. If anybody knows, a shooting gun is like a shooter basketball player's dream. It's that big net on the rim. You shoot it. You put like you load the gun up with four or five balls. Wherever you position is gonna keep shooting back out to you.
Damn, that must be expensive and stuff.
Yeah, but it was his. He had it, and it was for like
it.
coaching or whatever for his kids. But when he wasn't training, he left the gun at the YMCA.
Okay.
And anytime I needed it, if he wasn't around, he'd let me roll it out and just set it up.
Nice, dude.
So it was just like, and it was like, it wasn't even.
Like you were
it was part of my day. Not even part of my day. It was my day.
Yeah. Looks like that's come back to the whole thing, and it, as you mentioned, it helped you connect with other people. It's just one thing you guys are doing together, and I feel like me coming from a musical background,
Right.
I connected a lot to this because there's certain few things that you can do that are I don't know, you can build connection with people.
Can I read your mind real quick?
Mm-hmm.
What you're not to cut you off, but what you're basically saying is any form of art connects people.
Yes, and sport is one of the art.
Sports. What is sports? Sports is an art.
It is.
Music. Music is an art.
Sports, arts, painting, movies, theaters, anything.
It's
anything.
an art.
Mm-hmm.
You and I can connect right on a normal level. But when we connect on an artistic level, when you meet people that you connect on an artistic level, it's different.
It's different.
It's different.
It's on a whole another level.
It's different.
Yeah.
When you meet somebody either with the same passion, the same drive, same want to for something that you want, it's crazy. The energy. Now think about, I think that's the whole part of the team building camaraderie. Now think about when a group of people all join together for the same goal, i.e. a title, a ring, or whatever, regular season, right? How powerful that is. When you and I are believing in the same thing,
Yes.
and want the same thing.
Chasing the same thing.
Now how captivating is that? How powerful is that?
It's crazy, man.
Right? And it all goes back to all it is just a ball you're trying to put in the hoop, or it's a ball that you're throwing to throw in football. 11 people are trying to synchronize together and play the opposite 11 as a team. Right? And then I guess going into a topic you brought up is sports is a great out when it comes to mental health.
Exactly.
Right?
So it is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to distract yourself from problems in your life too. I mean,
Absolutely.
the reason being, well, music also has a lot of energy in it, but when you're supporting a team and you're seeing that team win, or just watching, I'm not even talking about playing sports, just watching. Alrighty, that's rolling. Alrighty, we are back.
All right, man, we're back again. Podcast number 1. Got a few technical difficulties. Had to recharge the battery. But stay with us. This is a mom and pop podcast as of right now. Right now, low budget, but high quality. So we kind of before we got cut off, it was a talk about basically our human mind and the human psyche, and kind of going into more of the mental game for a second. Maybe talk about, if you would like to, I'll share some of mine. It's some of the biggest battles that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't have to be personal, but I'm talking about more on the mental side of, one, how do you combat that? And two, what kind of avenues do you have in, dealing with that kind of stuff? So if you want me to start, I can start. That's kind of the open-ended topic that I wanted to address.
Mental health is huge, dude. It's day-to-day like challenges that you face. I think life is full of decisions. Since you wake up, there's micro decisions, there's macro decisions, but the day is filled of decisions. So, and making the right decision is what I would consider a challenge. Because, nothing that is correct is, almost anything that is the right thing to do is easy. It's always the hard thing to do is the right thing to do.
Right.
Almost always. So, so that is the challenge. If I face, like, I've been, personally speaking, for me, I'm at a point where it's almost becoming a habit now. It's becoming a habit to not indulge in stuff that is not helping with my life. So far, since I'm working in 3 jobs, like I'm kind of packed up with that. I do definitely get wrapped up in this internal mindset, internal dialogue that, hey, am I happy? Like, what I'm doing, is this it? Is this happiness? I want to take it slow. I want to have delayed gratification. I'm not going to be spending my money or anything like that. I just want to, I keep asking myself this multiple times throughout the week that, hey, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Am I happy? And I couldn't tell you I have an answer. I feel like life is ups and downs. So when you're up, when you're in middle of in Florida jet skiing, you're happy. When you're in a room at 3 a.m. thinking about your ex, maybe you're not. But this is not the happiness I'm referring to. I'm talking about the macro in general, the state of mind you're in, is what I think is happiness in general.
I'm going to expand on that for a second. There's 2 things that I've learned with, not age, because I'm not old. I'm the younger of the 2. I'm 21. But just through life experience, is if you can learn being in neutral gear shift, right? You have park where you're still.
Got you.
You have
Moderation.
reverse, you're going backwards. You drive where you're going forward. If you just say in neutral, what does that mean? Like you said, ups and downs. Don't get too caught up in the highs, because the lows are coming. Don't get bogged down in the lows, because at the end of every trough is a peak.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yep.
And what a lot of people get bogged down by is that trough. And what everybody's struggle is, whether that's big, whether that's small, is dealing with adversity. No matter on what scale it is, professional, personal, mental, physical, relationship-wise, family-wise, we oftentimes get balled up in this adversity. And I don't know about you, but something I've done that wasn't really the smartest thing to do is I felt like I had all the world's problems on my shoulders with my, whether it be situation, circumstance, my life at the time. You think my life, essentially sometimes you think your life's over, bro. You just like, shit, I can't. Sometimes you want to give up, but the idea of not giving up and testing yourself, again, getting back to that, is when you prove to yourself what you can do, that becomes the gratification. That becomes happiness. It isn't what my paycheck looks like. Yes, A handsome paycheck is a handsome paycheck. A larger paycheck is better than a smaller paycheck. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying getting gratification from within is oftentimes much bigger than gratification that we seek elsewhere, and that's the problem that people get into. You're seeking gratification from others. Now, something that I've listened to a lot, and it's interpretation of, I don't want to get too deep into religion, of our Gurmukhi through certain Gathavachic priests, whatever you want to call them, interpreters of religion, right? And somebody who I really follow is, his full name is, I don't know if you know him, he's a very famous Baba in India, right? And Baba, I don't mean like I'm talking about like a Kathavachik. Somebody who explains, his name is Baba Ranjit Singh Tadriyan Wale. I don't know if you know who that is.
Him, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now that guy puts Gurmukhi in perspective in such a way that it gets broken down so easily. But his biggest thing is learn how to deal with adversity. Because not a lot of people can deal with it on a very baseline level, as brace yourself for not the worst, but like I said, brace yourself for the trough.
Yeah.
Embrace the peak. Understand the trough is coming, and know that everybody else is dealing with the same stuff, right? Right now, are we all not in the same world, dealing with the same stuff? But if I'm saying, hey, my mind problems are bigger than yours, here I am putting a bigger burden on my mind, where I'm letting it be like, no, he's going through the same thing. If he can go through it, I can go through it. But you get bogged down in your own brain, and your inside, the voice that's from within that talks to you is so important. And that's one thing you learn, is just sometimes you don't need to talk to anybody, just talk yourself up.
Such a good point when you brought it right now is perspective. It is the in my opinion, it's the most underrated thing to talk about is perspective. Like when someone's going through a hard time and they are all wrapped up in their mind, the best way that's helped me especially to get out of that is thinking about the broader perspective. What is going on around me? What has been happening for the past 10 years in this place? Dude, people have been getting killed mercilessly for the past hundreds of years through slavery, through injustice, and like just watching. I do this sometimes, like I'm just, when I wrap it in my head, I just watch a quick documentary about Holocaust. I'm like, fuck, am I really crying about a girl leaving me when these guys had to dive into sewers to save themselves from getting caught up, getting killed by SS? I put that shit stuff into perspective. I don't want to curse on this, but when you put everything into perspective and everything, life gets so much simpler. And I can definitely tell that if someone's going through depression right now, anyone who's listening, if someone's battling through challenges, it comes from physiology too. Take a deep breath. Go stand up. Go walk outside. Do something with your body. This is also underrated, I think, is the mind-body connection people talk about is huge. It's huge. If you're lying down on your bed 7 hours a day and scrolling through the phone, versus if you're walking outside or playing basketball or playing a sport, you will find a difference in your mind and how you're thinking and approaching things, right? I'm sure you've noticed this when you're with your sports and you're working on stuff too.
I mean, absolutely, and just this is a very raw and unfiltered podcast. I don't like the fake BS that's out there, and I can openly say that, not that I am in a deep depression stage right now, but I was there at one point.
Yeah.
You're there at one point where you just in a dark hole, man. Like you wake up. I mean, you don't really. I mean, at the peak of mine, what might have been honestly earlier this year. where it's like you don't really want to do anything. You don't want to turn the lights on. You like it dark, you like it quiet. You just want to be alone. You're shunned away because your mind is taking over. Your problems are taking over. You're just compounding, and that's for a period of time. You're gonna go through that, but the saving grace that I had for myself is I've pulled myself out of that hole.
So how did you pull yourself out? Like, was there a certain point where you were like, hey, I have to stop this? Or was it events that led up to it?
So there were events. I can't point to a single one, but it got to certain points to where if I just stop reacting to certain BS, it's gonna bring my mind so much peace, and it's a lot easier to not react when you just distance.
Mm-hmm.
How much easier is it not to react to you when I'm not around you? It's a lot easier. So what I do is, what I've started, one thing I also recommend is just stop reacting. Going back to neutral, right? If I don't react to what you want me to react, well, you're not getting your satisfaction, which is reaction out of me. And I go back to this analogy that I listen to is, we got a remote here, right? This is my remote. Now, if I give my remote to you, right, take it. Now you dictate what channel I'm on. You hit the mute button on me.
Yeah.
You increase the volume on me. When you want to get a reaction out of me, you just hit the volume button.
What you want
when
is
you hand,
take this.
When you hand over, right, but when I take it back, now I control what I want on the TV.
Yeah.
Now you don't have my remote, do you?
Mm-hmm.
I have it. I have my remote.
Yeah.
To my life. So if whatever I want to react to, whatever I want, and it doesn't sound selfish. At the end of the day, as messed up as it sounds, there will only be one individual in my casket. If you really want to go there, right? There's only going to be one individual in that casket. Not going to be two. Not going to be three.
Mm-hmm.
For one casket, there's one person. So, and I don't want to reach that point with the regrets of things that I didn't do, or I didn't get over, or I didn't do whatever because I was too engulfed. Like I have so many visions of myself, right? This may sound cocky. This is uncut. I feel like I have a certain it factor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I call it. I don't
X
care.
factor.
The it factor. It factor. X factor, it factor, whatever it is. I feel like I have it. I don't know what it is. When you meet people, you know if they have it or not. Now, is that cocky for me to say it? Sure.
Dude,
it's not, because I'm confident in myself. I'm confident if I put my mind to something that it can be fruition. It could be a podcast. I'm not saying that. It could be YouTube. It could be singing, which I'm passionate. It could be whatever. I just feel like that I have greatness. And it was something that, now to answer your question, how I got out of it, something hit me where I'm not going to let this take over my entire life. Whatever this was, the cause of my depression, right? Whatever it was, I'm deep into it. I'm like, man, I'm not going to let it control my life.
Yeah.
I will be damned if I let it control my life. For one, I want my remote back. And once I have this remote, I'm going to change the channel. I want to see on that TV screen what I want to see. And I want to do X, Y, and Z to do those. And knowing that that isn't in anybody else's hands. It's in my hands. Right?
The moment you realized that you had control over your life, is that when you got your power back? Is that when you got your control, like you felt powerful again? Exactly.
And the thing is, it's very intangible, but the power that has is indescribable.
Yeah, it's man.
It's indescribable to where, and again, these might be, I talk to myself a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like for one, I'm alone. I'm not alone a lot of the time, but there's a lot of times where I'm to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And what I stopped doing again is I talk to myself more. What I mean by that is I'm working, or we talked kind of off camera. I'm manifesting and I'm envisioning things that I want to do, and then the next morning I get up and do them. I have certain fitness goals. So I started envisioning a meal prep. And now I'm actually meal prepping.
Mm-hmm.
Got the containers, everything out in front of me. Not at the measuring part, but the meal part. I'm tired of my body looking a certain way. I said I want to take supplements. Got on Amazon. I ordered them. They're here. They're in my bathroom. I'm gonna start taking them.
Yep.
Doing all those steps to like, all right, man. Now I'm building my own vision, what I wanted to see, not what somebody else wanted to see. I'm doing stuff for me, and then that gratification of meal prepping, of working out, of feeling like a gratification from within, doing well at work. Those things, once you start seeing the success, not even successes, once you just start seeing the results, it's addicting. That's where that part of it's so powerful. It's like, all right, man, this is my life. It's not somebody else's. It's mine. If I don't want to, my biggest thing was, honestly, man, I have so many avenues to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be an idiot if I wasn't successful. As layman as I can put it to you, if I'm not successful, shame on me. And my definition of successful is X, Y. I have my definitions, but for me to not be successful, I'd be an idiot.
So we're talking about monetary value here, or what is your definition of successful?
For me, it's not monetary success is one thing, but I'm gonna go back to that the intangible instant inner gratification. Now, what do I mean by that? What I do for a living right now. I'm a part-time, full-time student, an intern, basically hoping to turn into my full-time career as a financial advisor, right? So the gratification I receive through my job is getting on the phone and dialing. My goal is to obviously set meetings, meet clients, do whatever. But the instant gratification, not the instant, but the gratification I feel from actually doing the job, which is dialing the phone, right? Getting on it. And that sounds very cheesy, sounds very generic, but people get frightened by it. People don't do it. People can't do it.
Yeah.
Right? Getting on the phone, dialing people, right? So for me, the gratification is there. For one, just dialing the phone. Level 2 of that gratification is hearing back from people.
But my question is to you is why can't you be successful now, or why do you think you have to be successful in the future? And I guess what I'm saying is there like a certain number or anything that is fixed that when you reach that, are you going to be like, I'm successful now? Or is it like, personally for me, it is, I think if I am contributing as much as I can to the world, I'm successful. Like that's what I like. If I'm impacting people's life, or I'm contributing either to monetary value or to certain amount of value, I'm successful. So I'm starting that right now too, right? Like I posted on my Instagram too, but 10% of my monthly income, people recommend me to save that into savings bank, but like savings account, but I put that to some kind of charity. Like I want to put my 10% of every single month and to a charity, and that brings me a sense of gratification every month. Like I don't know, it is not for everyone. Like giving back to people does not bring that sense of joy to every person. I can definitely say that, but I know there's people out there like me who get that sense of gratification when they give back to people, and that see smiles, see thank you, see, because I feel like I'm in a power of privilege.
All right. Again, last technology delay. Apologies for that. We just roll with the punches. But kind of wrapping up today's pod, I guess the message was we talked about a lot of things. It's very raw, and I have no problem speaking about more personal examples. We were kind of more cliche based today, and that could be down the road. That'll probably be a whole episode in itself. Just because I don't ever mind sharing my experiences at all, because it's not something everybody can relate to, but it's the whole idea of dealing with adversity and how to deal with it and how to tackle it. And I think my biggest goal, not in this for this pod, but just in general, is to bring a lot more awareness to certain topics that our community tends to avoid. And if I can accomplish that, and just in any way, I don't know how I can put a barometer on it. I don't know how I can measure it. I don't know what I can do to it. But the idea of bringing more awareness to the problems that we face, and again, I'm just shooting a whole bunch of podcast ideas that we can tackle one by one by one. But really, man, this was fun as hell. I don't know how deep we're into it. I don't know. I'm sorry if it's an hour, if it's 90 minutes. If you're tired of listening to us talk, I'm sorry, but I got a lot to say. My man got a lot to say, and this is a podcast, so damn it, we gonna talk. And that's what podcasts are about. It's raw, uncut, unfiltered. I'm not with that fake stuff. Whatever I say is what I do and what I preach, right? So what you hear is what you're gonna see when you meet me. When you see me, I'm sure you kind of seen that, but that's kind of what I hope to deliver. I love to talk. I love to conversate, and if I can conversate with you guys, that's awesome.
Keep in mind, this is I had a good time too. Like this is 1 a.m. right now when we're recording the whole thing, and it's a great conversation we're just having. Time flew by pretty quick. And
I mean, I could make this a 4-hour podcast, but I don't know if anybody would watch. I don't know if YouTube would allow a 4-hour uploaded podcast, but if
they do. They go for like 10 hours too. But I just wanna. But we have so many topics to cover.
This could be a filibuster. We don't want to filibuster the first podcast.
Yeah.
We don't want to live stream go for like 26 hours. This is by no means will this be a filibuster.
We'll save it up.
We'll save it, right? Because, like you said, 2 different life experiences, 2 different perspectives, but a lot to share.
A lot to share.
And if that can relate to somebody, that can relate to one person, 2 people, 3, and it can be a way of connection. It can be a way of, like we said, right? I think one thing I talked about is people get connected through art. And if you ask me, dealing with adversity is also a form of art. It's a weird, twisted, psychological way. And when you connect with, like-minded people who have dealt with the same adversity, you relate to a different level, just like as you would relate to somebody who was in the same field as you, in the same, hobby, sport, interest as you. But there's a certain level of connectivity. That again, who are these motivational speakers, right? They're just people who speak on things that everybody goes through, and it's just that those people do a great job of explaining it.
Yeah, but see, there's also a lot of bullshit speakers too.
Absolutely.
But we have been able to choose speakers because they've walked the talk. They've done what they said before, and now that when you see him telling about it, and you see a sense of credibility, and I love that. And yeah, to honestly, we have so much to share. It's just going to be a lot of stuff to throw out in one podcast. So we'll save it up. Hope you had a good time too. We thoroughly enjoyed this.
If you stayed through the end of it, I had to send you a gift. I might just send
You're the MVPs, man.
Might just send you a cash. Might send you a
all
gift.
respect.
Might send you something, but yeah.
Comment down if you stayed till the end. We want to see how many did that.
Right. Yeah. That'd be kind of cool to know. And I guess there wasn't an official name. I've been floating around with a lot. Again, first pod. Nobody really thought of that. I like the setup though. If y'all like the setup, I think there was a lot of thought process with the setup at least.
Yeah,
kind of put some effort in there. There's some furniture moving, put some lights up. So, the effort was there on our end. Like I said, we enjoyed it. A lot to come, but I guess this is, for today's, the title will be the Harkirt Singh / Harkirt Singh / whatever pronunciation of my name you want to give. The Harkirt Singh podcast. Signing off. I guess a schedule. there's no updates on schedules because, as these guys know with my YouTube videos, I say every 2 weeks and then 3 months go by and
Hey,
no
it's
video
it's
comes out.
consistency. It's the key
Right.
though.
So this
it's
is
gonna build
something-
up.
and this is something that I really enjoyed. So
Mhm.
this might be something more consistent than the YouTube videos. Just out there because YouTube, the content may be not hard to come by, but just I just like to talk. That's what sometimes I do on my YouTube videos too, and it's honestly just a glorified podcast. Or sometimes last week I just sat and I talked.
Mm-hmm.
So I think podcasting might be something a lot more better. And if, like I said, not that there's any attraction or whatever, but I'll keep putting it out and putting it out and putting it out. Hopefully we might have one next week or whatever we might be able to do. But yeah, it's
The video is gonna go off in his channel. Go do check out. I'm gonna shamelessly plug my channel into.
no, don't shamelessly plug. Openly plug. Openly plug your channels, your Instas, your socials. Where can they catch you at?
It's gonna be the description, but it's Bikram Singh. The YouTube channel is Bikram Bikram Singh, and Instagram Bikram_Singh20. But that's about it.
That's about
We're
it.
starting off. We're starting off slow.
Starting off slow. I got you.
Yes, sir.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
Well, with that being said, man, I don't know about you, but it's 1:02 a.m. So it's kind of past my bedtime. So I went past my bedtime for you guys, jokingly but not jokingly. Thank you immensely. Again, I'm not really sure how to correctly sign off, but for today's, the first episode of the Harkirt Singh podcast has officially concluded. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Good night. Bye bye.